Welcome everybody to another video about Subnautica. I'm not going to play the game, by the way, but so I'm just going to talk a few things that happened to me recently, and it affects Subnautica Below Zero. So it's a video about Subnautica Below Zero, or my series of Subnautica. So if you have been following my channel, then you must have already realized that I haven't put out anything in the last few days. And the reason for that is very simple. I broke my laptop. I had a laptop that had, I don't know, 10 months or something like that. And it had an RTX 4060 with a beefy CPU. I don't remember exactly what it was. And it just the laptop just broke, so I'm gonna be sometime without that laptop. However, I still have my old laptop, which is an Asus ROG laptop with an RTX 3070, but this laptop has around 5 years. So the CPU, the motherboard, and all stuff, so everything's around 5 years old. And it doesn't seem like much, 5 years, but in terms of gaming, and I have noticed it now since I came back to this Asus laptop. My 4060 laptop actually performs a lot better than this 3070 one. Which is actually quite surprising, because if you go online and now the issue is, if you specifically compare the RTX 3070 with the RTX 4060, they are on par with each other apparently. So in terms of performance, they are basically the same thing. However, since the 40 series is actually newer, I also believe, not also believe the DLSS technology is better, which means that when you run a game like I do in 4K, the DLSS engine kicks in much more than when you have the RTX 30 series. So, and I didn't notice that. So if you go, or you can't understand that, you don't have that perception, but every game that I have played for the last, I don't know, 6 months, probably 6 months is too much, probably 4 months or something like that, is all in 4K. And it's in 4K native. Well, let's acknowledge that there's DLSS technology on that, okay? But it is at 4K resolution. And with the exception of Syntopia, every game that I ran just ran flawlessly. Okay, I just ran the game well enough to play it without noticing anything pushing too much. And I recorded at 4K and I streamed at 4K without any single issue. Then the laptop broke, maybe because of that. No, I'm kidding. The laptop just broke. And I returned to my Asus ROG 3070. And I just did the same thing. I installed the games, I installed OBS, I have the same 4K monitor, and I just ran the game at 4K. I didn't run the game. I haven't yet run the game. This is the menu screen of Subnautica Below Zero, as you can see. But it's at 1440p. If I run this at 4K, my OBS complains and says the frame rate just drops like to 40. I'm currently running at steady 60 frames per second. Well, sorry. OBS is recording at steady 60 frames per second. If I bump this up to 4K, it drops around 40 frames per second. Now, again, I actually thought that performance-wise, 30 series or 3070 would be kind of the same thing as a 4060, because it is a series behind but it's one range above, so it's a 3070 versus a 4060. However, and this is why I believe, the DLSS technology really kicks in, the game runs perfectly well at 4K native, and I record at 4K and I stream at 4K without issues. In this laptop, just putting the menu screen just running the menu screen at 4K makes OBS lag. And this is actually the second recording I'm doing of this, because after, I don't know, 5 minutes of me talking, or maybe 10 minutes of me talking, OBS started to complain that the encoder was getting overflown. So it wasn't able to keep up with what I was running here. So it is quite a difference. And I to be honest, I was actually quite surprised, because I had no idea that a 4060 could surpass a 3070 so much. And they are actually both there's if you have a laptop, the wattage of your GPU matters a lot, because what some brands do is they have the same board, the same GPU, but one brand, one more expensive brand, has the GPU with more electric power on it, like 140 watts, I believe it's like the most you can get. And then another laptop, which is cheaper, but it has the same GPU, weird isn't it? But it's clocked at, or it's topped at, 90 watts. So those 50 watts of difference make a gigantic difference in performance. So that's why you can have two different laptops running the exact same GPU, probably the exact same CPU, but one is topping 140 watts, the other one is like 100 for something like that. And they have different performances. But this laptop, the 30 series, and the other laptop, the 40 series, they are both topping at 140 watts, if I'm not mistaken. Now, 140 watts in two different GPUs mean different things, right? Probably 140 watts for a 40 series makes more difference than the same 140 watts on a 30 series, because the 40 series should be more power efficient, so it's gonna use those same 140 watts much more efficiently, so it's gonna be more performant, you know what I mean? However, my initial tests with the two of them shown that you are basically running the same machine, and I went, well, if I can game just as well on the 4060 as the 3070, and if my laptop with the 4060 is now my new daily driver, well, yeah, I'm just gonna grab the 3060 laptop, the 3070 laptop, and just gonna actually give it to my son, to be honest. So I just took it back. So I just gave the laptop to my son, because he had my previous computer, which was a desktop machine with an GTX 1070, and I gotta tell you, that thing rocks until today. He actually plays Roblox, which is not very demanding, but, and this was very surprising, he played, because he's not playing that anymore, but he used to play, or he played for some time, it's not FIFA, what is it? EAFC 2024 and 2025, or EAFC 25, and the game just runs. Now, obviously, it's not ultra high graphics, it's just medium or something, and it is probably capped at 1080p, but still, it's a GTX 1070. It's I don't know, a GPU with a, I don't know, the game, the desktop is like 8 years old or something like that. So, and I got really surprised with the fact that he could play the game super, fluidly at 1080p on a GTX 1070. But okay. So basically, since I realized, okay, my 30 series is just as good as my 40 series. So since I'm using the 40 series laptop as a daily driver, I'm gonna give the 30 series to my son. He used it, and I just ran the 40 series. All went well. I played at 4K, and then I bumped my plays to 4K, recording to 4K, stream to 4K. Everything just peachy, amazing. And then the laptop crashed, and I went, okay, no biggie. I'll just, I don't know how long I'm gonna have until I get my laptop again, but probably around 1 month. But I went, yeah, I'm just gonna grab the 30 series again. My apologies to my son, obviously. But for Roblox, GTX 1070 is just fine. And prepared everything. And I got really surprised when I loaded Subnautica at 4K. And my OBS just went, nope. Yeah, I'm not running that at 60 FPS. And I went, what the hell is going on here? And I went, okay, let's drop the resolution of the game to 1440p, but keep OBS at 4K, with a little bit of upscaling. Let's see how it goes. And it actually seemed fine until like 10 minutes into the video that I was doing exactly this, and the OBS was just, yeah, I don't think this is gonna work. And this just started lagging. And I went, what the hell is going on here? Now, one major difference between those two laptops, and this is most likely CPU bound, okay? My OBS is currently clocking 10% of CPU usage. Now, I have the screen of the game that you're watching, my ugly face here, the microphone, and I probably have an animation to just, show up where it says, please subscribe to my channel. And it's pushing between 9.5 and 11% of CPU. On my other laptop, probably because it's more recent, has more efficient cores, it usually went around 6%. Like, that's not half, but it's almost half of the CPU usage, which makes a big impact in the overall mechanics here, because having one single application just using 10% of the CPU is actually something to be considering when you're playing a game, a heavy performance game. But yeah, 13 minutes of me just yapping, and all just to say that... Oh, I forgot one thing. Now, why am I not playing the game at the moment? Well, I found out, in the worst way possible, that this game does not have saves in the cloud. And apparently my encoder is overloading again, so I'm gonna have to wrap this up really very soon. And it's going to be very interesting, because I don't know if I'm going to play this game like that. Because, oh, you know what? I might need to change my encoder settings. It might be that. Okay. So, it's running at 35 FPS at the moment, but it's going to drop 28. Yeah, this is going to drop. Guys, I can't play the game from where I left it off. I might play the game offline, try to kind of reach the same area-ish that I was previously, and then start live streaming again from there. And let's see how it goes. Guys, yeah, this my OBS is just getting hammered. Yeah, I gotta go. That's it. Thank you very much for watching, and as always, I hope to see you all in a few days on my next video. Bye-bye.